Dan Chow, I'm with you alongside AJ DiBenedetto here at Eastfield for Stallions against Dragons. AJ, should be a good matchup. The Stallions having off yesterday, now back in action tonight. Two sets of games, and then they'll get two more off days. What do they have to do here against the Dragons, who they've beaten 4 times this season, to earn their 16th win overall?
Like you said, 4-0 against the Dragons, 34-11 mark between these 4 games. But we look at the last game, Dan. Not a promising Stallions team like we saw the rest of this season. A lot of runners left on base. Pitching had their ifs and thens. And at the end, it just didn't go the Stallions' way.
They had a lot of chances in that game. Bases loaded, nobody out. Second and third, nobody out. That game we're talking about, of course, the Amsterdam Mohawks game where the Stallions lost 6-3 up there at Shuttleworth Park. 31 runners left on base throughout the last 3 games. It's been rough for them as of late. Something they're trying to figure out. But a great chance to do it against the worst offense and worst pitching in all of the entire PGCBL.
Yeah, Stallions, today is the day for the Stallions to make up for their last game. They had a rough one, but every baseball team has a rough game. This is the game to come back, and it's today and it's now.
Yeah, you speak of today and now. This Stallions team against the Dragons all year, 4-0, and you look back at all these different matchups. It's been a whirlwind. 8-1 to start off, then 12-2 in the second matchup, 4-2 here at Eastfield to start off, and then a 10-6 win at home a couple of days ago. The one thing I want to mark in that 10-6 game, the Dragons coming in had only scored 5 runs against the Saugerties all season. They scored 6 in that one, so beat their run total all season against the Stallions. And despite being at the bottom of the league, they've taken the lead in every single game against Saugerties this season.
Yeah, the Glens Falls Dragons always have a good way to come in. They always start off strong, but then the pitching collapses. The Stallions take advantage of that, and they always come up on top. Like we said this season, 4-0, 34-11. The Stallions are outscoring the Dragons. So definitely a good matchup today coming in.
So before we get ready to go here, why don't we take a look at the PGCBL East standing. It's the first time in 2 weeks that the Stallions are not first or tied for first. Amsterdam a game ahead. They also have a game in hand and will be gaining an extra one as they're off tonight before resuming action tomorrow. So crucial to win this one, especially with the Mohawks having 2 games left extra to play over Saugerties.
Yeah, the Stallions have to see that they are a game down. They aren't tied for the first time, like you said, in 2 weeks. Not very Saugerties-like, this year at least. But the Stallions are here today, going to make a comeback and start off the rest of the week on a good mark.
Great chance to get the weekend going. We'll face Oneonta tomorrow at home before Sunday and Monday off. Just about ready to go here from Eastfield. When we come back, we'll run through lineups and first pitch. Stay right with us. Dan Shaw with you alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth. AJ, a beautiful night here at East Field and a game in which the Stallions need to win to get back on track after suffering that bad loss up in Amsterdam 6-3 on, when was that? I'm losing my days here. Wednesday night.
Yeah, Wednesday.
It's been a couple days. We had an off day yesterday, now back here. So what's the game plan tonight?
The game plan, second time coming to East Field for the Saugerties Stallions. 4-0, Dan. Like you said, outscoring their opponents 34-11 in those 4 games. Stallions just looking to do the same thing they've been doing to the Glens Falls Dragons these past 4 games of meeting them.
You speak of those 4 games. Stallions 4-0 versus the Dragons this year, but last time these two teams played, it was a much different story than we expected. That one being 5 days ago. The Dragons hopping out to a 5-0 lead before the Stallions put up 10 straight runs. What happened there?
A surprising thing to see, the Dragons putting up 5 on the Stallions before the Stallions even put up 1. But the Stallions doing the Stallions things and putting up 10 on them, winning 10-6.
Yeah, you speak of that, and it's surprising because this Dragons lineup is the worst average in all of the PGCBL with a 197. On the other side of it, the Stallions batting 296. That's second behind Amsterdam. So why don't we take a look now at the lineup here for the Stallions tonight. It's going to be Mario Trivella leading off. He gave the Stallions a 3-2 lead in the 8th inning against the Mohawks. Then it's going to be Nate Manley in the 2-hole. Same kind of lineup that we saw up in Amsterdam. We've been seeing Manley used a lot more as of late. He's the extra hitter. Then it's going to be Andrew Amato making his first start out in left field. Then Byram Hott at short. Matt McIntyre doing the DHing tonight. Then it's the right fielder Justin Ford for back-to-back games of him being out there and right. Jarrett May, the first baseman, he'll be in the 8-hole. Then it's going to be Zach Anderson, his first time catching since that ugly injury he had back at Cantine Field. And to round things off in the 10-hole, Evan Dieter, the center fielder. On the mound for the Dragons is Orlando Leon. Leon is ready to go. He deals a first pitch strike. Leon has played the Stallions in his last 2 outings.
Take a look at June 14th at Utica for Leon. He had a 174, Dan. Now we take it to today, the 28th of June. He's coming in with the 385. So a little bit of a misconception with him and the pitching mound these past few starts.
That one misses on the outside. Yeah, his first 3 starts were great. He only let up 2 earned runs, but in his past 2 appearances against the Stallions has let up 3 earned in just an inning and a third pitched. Trivella takes that one. And you look at the Stallions team up and down. A lot of talent in this lineup, and they nearly had it against Amsterdam on Wednesday night. Trivella works himself a first leadoff walk, and part of them being so effective has been the plate discipline. We really haven't seen this team strike out very much.
It's very odd to see the Stallions strike out, especially anywhere throughout this order. Going from 1 to 10, every single one of these hitters can hit the ball, and they made the PGCBL be known of that.
It'll be Nate Manley digging in now. That one's in there for strike 1.
Dan, you look at Leon and then the Saugerties Stallions lineup. They faced this guy 3 times in the past 2 weeks, right? When you face a guy 3 times in 2 weeks, you know the pitches he throws, you know what he likes to throw, and you know where it's going to go based on the pitch. The Stallions are going to have to pick that up quickly to show the same success that we've had the past 3.
Another check over there on Trivella. He's tied for first on the team in stolen bases with 7. Manley at the dish. The 0-1 to him. Grounded over to the left side, through for the first hit of the ball game. Trivella will stop at second, and there's runners at first and second with nobody out here in the top of the first.
Dan, I want to bring back a memory from the Amsterdam game on Wednesday. Trivella was on first, if you remember, and got picked off. We saw a very close play right there on first, almost getting picked off again. He's got to be a little closer to the bag, lead off runner on. Definitely not the out you want to get there.
And AJ, that was also in the top of the first as well. It'll be Andrew Amato digging in now, the power lefty bat. Takes that one for strike one. Amato sporting a .556 average this season through just 4 games. Here's the 0-1. Misses down low. And the thing about Amato is he really should have 6 hits on the season. He's only credited for 5, had an absolute laser over to second base in the Amsterdam game. Amsterdam officials scored it as an E4, yet the second baseman never even touched the ball.
If a player doesn't touch the ball and it goes by them, that is a hit. It was hit so hard, Dan, that the second baseman didn't even have a chance to get it.
Absolutely no chance. Amato's done a great job filling in the role of Ethan Conrad, who was the 3-hole hitter on this team for about the first 15 games, and then one came in, one came out, and since then it's been nothing but spectacular from Andrew Amato at the dish. That one misses on the inside. Both runners are going to move up.
Dan, we've seen this the last time we came to East Field. We saw runs and runs and runs, pass balls, errors. If Glens Falls wants to win, they can't have errors. They can't bat a 196 as a team. You really got to compact all of those things together, and it kind of shows on the standings.
Bases will be loaded after Amato works a walk for Byram Hott. And Hott, a guy who's been getting on track as of late, had an effective day up at Amsterdam with a double. And a perfect chance for him to really get himself back to the form we saw in the first about 10 games.
And we've seen Byram these past few games having trouble at the plate, but really you see his potential. You know, you see the potential he has, and Coach Colin Martin, Coach Rich Doobie, all of them know that. So they know I'm putting him at the 4 spot, I'm putting him at the 3 spot without even looking twice because they know he's going to do a job.
First pitch to him is down low. Merowitz keeps it in front of him. Hott this season, 13 RBIs, looking to possibly add 14 and 15. The first inning hasn't treated Orlando Leon well this season against Saugerties with 3 earned runs. Was the opener last time that the Stallions played here at East Field in the first and gave up 2 earned off a hit and 2 walks. Has the exact same line through 3 batters so far with the 1 hit and 2 walks. Hott's going to step out.
Dan, you look at all the batters. No batter has been under a count that's not theirs. You see the first batter, a 4-pitch walk to Travella, a single to Manley, and then a walk to Amato. They haven't got a 2-strike count here where they're forcing themselves.
Bases are loaded here for Byram Hott in a 2-0 count. Stallions looking to jump ahead. Here's the pitch from Leon. Hott smacks it to right center field. Masserini under it. Tagging home is Travella, and the Stallions are up 1-0 early here in this first.
Byram Hott couldn't have done a better job there. Bases loaded, 1-0 count, saw his pitch down the middle, and got the run in. He's going to get high fives on the way back to the bench on that one because now the Stallions have a 1-0 lead.
It's just about doing a job, and we saw the same scenario in Amsterdam where they had the bases loaded, nobody out, and we're only able to plate 1 run off a double play ball. So already a difference here tonight at East Field. It'll be Matt McIntyre at the dish now. McIntyre, the DH in this one, and we've seen him be effective at the plate. He didn't appear last game. So first one for him since Tuesday against Albany. In that game, went 1 for 3.
And Dan, we consistently talk about McIntyre at the plate, a 3-0 on the season. You go back to his New Haven, the 23 season, the 22 season, above a 300. You go to high school, above a 300. As a hitter, he hasn't seen below 300.
He grounds this one to the left side. Going to be a tough play for Gabriel. Throws to second, now over to first. Not in time, so McIntyre reaches on the fielder's choice.
McIntyre 5 feet to the left end there, 2-3 feet. That's getting through. The same hit as Nate Manley had in his at-bat, but shortstop played it well.
So with 2 outs in this inning and runners at the corner, it'll bring up the hot-hitting Justin Ford. Coming into last game, he sported a .391 and was slotted in the 8-hole. This time he got to move up a couple spots in the 6-hole, and he's batting .380 overall this season. Take strike one.
Like you said, he went 1 for 4 against Amsterdam on Wednesday, and the hit he had, a productive hit, a double. Got the Stallions the momentum going and gave them the chance to score. But like we said against Amsterdam, they had their trouble scoring.
They had 10 runners left on base in that one, and Ford had a leadoff double in that top half of the 7th before 3 straight outs by the Stallions to strand him on the base paths.
The thing we saw in Amsterdam, Dan, was small ball. We saw a ton of bunt attempts, steals, hit and runs. It kind of matched out on they wanted to score. Amsterdam knew they had to put up runs. The Stallions with Justin Ford leadoff double, it makes you think maybe small ball.
We didn't see much of it last game. We could see a switch of strategy. 0-2 count. There's the steal like you talked about, and a great pitch to do it on.
Exactly, the perfect pitch to do it on. On an 0-2 count, any hitter is thinking curveball. You never want to think it because then you won't catch up to the fastball. But in an 0-2 count, it's the best count to steal in. You have a curveball, one in the dirt, you're getting to second safely.
Stolen base for Matt McIntyre. Gets rid of the force at second. This one's chopped to the left side. Going to be a tough play at third for Friend. He throws to first. Not in time. It's an RBI infield single for Justin Ford. 2-0 Stallions.
Anytime Justin Ford makes contact with the ball, it somehow is a single. It's the magic touch. Justin Ford with a chopper off the ground. He gets an RBI and gets a single for himself as well.
So Mario Trivella and Nate Manley have both come around to score here in this top half of the first. Stallions lead at 2-0. Anthony Marcano digging in with 2 outs. Runners still at the corners. He swings through it for strike one.
Marcano, a batter that was batting .363. Having his trouble the past few games, now it's coming in at about a .270, .275. Marcano has to get right back on the Marcano roll that we saw about 2 weeks ago, Dan, and this lineup is going to be unstoppable.
So back-to-back batters in which the runner at first has stole second to eliminate the force over there at second base. Justin Ford doing a great job, and now a couple RBIs possible for Anthony Marcano. He takes upstairs. That one gets past Merowitz. McIntyre chugging home. There'll be no throw. The Stallions are up 3-0.
Rough start for the Dragons, Dan. Like we saw, an RBI single from Ford, an RBI sac fly from Byram Hott, and now a pass ball to get that third run in and 2 stolen bases. An effective inning for the Stallions, Dan. But the Glens Falls Dragons, these are just errors that can't be made and just shouldn't allow the opportunity to happen.
1-2 count to Marcano. He strikes out for the first strikeout of the ball game. Stallions do damage, though, here in the first. They lead it by 3 as we head to the home half. You alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth. 3 runs scoring for the Stallions in that top half. Those 3 runs being the leadoff hitter Mario Trivella, Nate Manley, and Matt McIntyre, who stole home, propelling the Stallions to have themselves a 3-0 lead. And the man on the mound who's going to try and keep that lead at 3 is Sean Duke.
Sean Duke, a good friend of ours. We know him, always pitching for the Stallions so far. We saw in his last start, 2 innings pitched, a rough outing for Duke, one to forget, and is he going to do that today against the Dragons? 2 hits, 5 runs, all of them being earned, with 5 walks and a K.
Yeah, the walks in that one really being his kryptonite. He only gave up 2 hits, just had trouble locating the zone. Coming into this game overall, sporting an 11.73 ERA through just 7 2/3 innings pitched, with 2 of those games coming against the Dragons, who are last place in the PGCBL. He's given up 7 earned runs off of 4 hits through 5 1/3 against Glens Falls this year. He deals a first pitch strike here to start the bottom of the first. The batter for the Dragons is Justin Gouveia, the right fielder. The 0-1 misses on the outside. It's 1-1.
And Dan, Justin Gouveia, one of the higher average batters on this team, a 275 through 14 games. He has 4 doubles for himself with a triple. So this guy can get around the bases. There's a reason he's batting 1 for the Glens Falls Dragons, and it's unprecedented on why.
2-1 count. Here's the pitch. Misses upstairs, and it's 3-1. Last time against this Dragons team, 5 walks in 2 innings, looking to avoid his first walk of the night right here. The 3-1 gets Gouveia swinging, and the count goes full for the first time tonight.
With a team that has a 196 average, Dan, it's hard to give them walks. If you give them pitches to hit, obviously you can see it hasn't been such a successful season at the plate for them. In Duke's mind right now, it's throw strikes, get outs.
Yeah, so for the Dragons, they have the worst batting average in the league with a 197. They're also batting 169 as a team versus the Stallions through 4 games this season. That one's grounded to the right side. Trivella grabs it, throws to May for out number 1.
Just the thing that Duke has to do right there, just let the defense make the plays. The Stallions have showed their defense is effective as any team in the PGCBL. We've seen minimal errors throughout many games this season, and Duke has to just trust his infielders, outfielders, and his catcher all at once to make it possible.
Speaking of that defense, we see the defense for the Stallions. Anderson behind the plate for the first time tonight in about 2 weeks. Then it's Marcano over at third, Hot at short, Trivella at second. Then May over at first, second straight game that Trivella has played at second. Outfield left to right is Amato. His first start in the field so far this season has been the DH or the extra hitter through 3 so far. Then it's Dieter out in center and Ford in right for the second straight ball game. So we're seeing some consistency now with the Stallions lineup on a game-by-game basis.
As it gets to mid-season, Coach Colin Martin made it clear to the players, I'm going to play who I think's the best for this team, right? And that obviously switches there and then. Some people might have a good streak, some people might have a bad few games, and it's all interchangeable with baseball. But at the end of the day, the Stallions want to win, and that's why they're all here.
We also hear that some reinforcements on the way to the Stallions team. We'll see what that means as time goes on. That one misses upstairs. The count is 2-2. Kyle Wu, the second baseman, at the dish. He swings at a pitch outside, and there's 2 quick outs here in this bottom half of the first.
Dan, we look at the Stallions, second in the PGCBL, and then we look at the Dragons, 3-13-1. 4 of those games losing to the Stallions, and the rest throughout the PGCBL. But overall, they have some hitters on this team. If you look around, some powerful hitters on this team, Cespedes being one of them.
Yeah, Odelio Cespedes at the plate. He's second on the team for average, sporting a 300 so far through 11 games. The man above him is Cody Meyer, who's not in the lineup tonight for the Dragons. He's batting a 320 through 16 games.
Dan, the last 2 times we played the Dragons, Meyer has batted 1 and has gone 2 for 3 or 2 for 4 in each of those last 2 games.
Once you get past the Dragons' top 7 hitters on their stat line. Everybody else is below 200. I mean, there's a reason why this team is only batting 197 and batting 169 against Saugerties. They're having trouble at the plate. Here's the 2-1. That one is smoked into right center by Cespedes. Charging at it. There was Dieter. He's not going to be able to get there. Cespedes into second with a stand-up double.
And Dan, we just talked about how powerful Cespedes is. He just hit it to the furthest part of the field on a one bouncer to the fence. And it got there in about 2 seconds. That's just pure power, velocity, launch angle was perfect. And he's on second now.
Yeah, when you look at this lineup, of course the numbers aren't great, but there's bright spots somewhere across any team, no matter how bad they are doing to start a season. Odilio Cespedes, one of those guys, came in batting 300. That now definitely more. Cespedes also, that's just his 3rd double of the season, so he's been primarily a singles guy, and across the board, no home runs for this Dragons team through 17 games.
If you look at Cespedes, those 8 RBIs, it's kind of an overlook with a team that has trouble with an on-base percentage, right? He's not having so much opportunity to get those runs in like we just saw a double. If one guy's on there, that's an RBI. So it really comes to him batting 3. Who gets on before him? And you look at the averages, 250, 245. It's not consistent.
The 1-1 here to Steven catch the DH. Misses outside. It's 1-2-1. Is this right? 1-2, excuse me. 2 outs here in this bottom of the first. Stallions are leading by 3. That one misses upstairs. The count will now be 2-2. Catch so far this season, a 273 hitter through just 10 games. 2-2, 2 out. Man on second here in the bottom of the first. Anderson does a nice job with the block, prevents Cespedes from moving up. The count will go full for the second time in this inning.
Dan, you look at it from last game, like we said, 2 innings, 5 walks. We go to this inning. Yes, a double given up to one of the better hitters on Glens Falls, but it's been ground out, strikeout. So positive things coming out from this next Sean Dukes outing.
He misses outside. It'll be a walk here with 2 outs. Duke has been in the bullpen working with Phillies World Series winning pitching coach Rich Doobie, just fixing the mechanics, trying to improve on every outing. Had a nice start to the season, but has faltered a little bit. Finding himself, though, here at Eastfield. There's runners at first and second. It's the third baseman, Jack Friend, to the dish with 2 outs.
Friend, one of the hitters batting under 200 this season. He's batting a 192.
He grounds this one over to short. Hot throws to second in time for out number 3. So Duke gets out of the jam. Stallions keep a clean bottom half of the first. We head to the second. Saugerties up by 3. Dan Shalom with you alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth. Stallions leading by 3. 8, 9, 10 due up in this top half of the second. And you look at all 3 of these guys, Jarrett May, Zach Anderson, Evan Dieter, all guys with plenty of potential, but have struggled to find it so far, and a great time to turn it around against a pitching staff which ranks worst in the PGCBL.
If there's any time to do it, Dan, it's now. We've seen Jarrett May, who's up right now. he's had multiple hard hit balls, but in baseball, some of them might just not touch the grass. And in his case, they haven't been. So right now, we're hoping for him to have one of the better days to get right back on track to the old Jarrett May that we've seen at the beginning of the season.
Takes the first 2 pitches he sees. It's 1-1. May's last appearance was against the Dragons at home in that 10-6 win. Had a single in that one, but was out every other time going 1 for 4. He's batting .129 this season. So a guy that is definitely looking to turn it around. Had 2 hard hit balls last time we were here at East Field, neither of them finding the grass. And just as we say it, another hard hit ball that goes foul.
Hard hit ball that almost hit his pitchers over there in left field. Almost hit the bullpen. They had a scurry.
May, another Weber guy who came up with head coach Colin Martin. Another ball that he's just in front of right now, just a little bit early with his swing.
Yeah, just a tad second early. He sits back that extra second. We've seen the power that he enhances at Canton Field. A missile to left field over the fence.
He fouls this one off to the right side.
But as a Weber guy, Coach Colin Martin sees his potential throughout the entire season. Dan, he's been there 2 years, 3 years. Coach Colin Martin has seen what he could do. Just right now, it's not what he wants.
1-2 count here to Jared May. The pitch. Inside for ball 2. We've also seen May, despite the average, be extremely disciplined. He has 6 walks on the year.
6 walks with the 129. Sometimes it doesn't add up, making the entire story. Stats sometimes have a story behind it, and this one definitely does.
He takes it there. First full count of the ball game for the Stallions here in this top of the second. They lead it by 3. Here's the pitch. Fouled back, and we'll do it again at 3-2.
Jarrett May, like we said, 8 pitches this at-bat. He's a fighter at the plate. He's not going to just let a fastball go by or a slider fool him. He's an experienced college player. He's going into his senior year. He knows what baseball is. Like we just said.
Takes ball 4. It's a leadoff walk here for Jarrett May in the top of the second.
Now 7 walks for May after this one. And May's a guy that we want to see on base more than often because he's a guy that could do something on the base paths as well.
It'll be Zach Anderson, the catcher, now to the dish. Anderson, his first start behind the plate since that gnarly injury we saw at Canton Field about 2 weeks ago. Had multiple teeth knocked out. But this guy is a warrior, AJ. He's not going to let anything stop him.
This guy refused to almost come out of the game. He had blood coming down, and it really came down to the point of, you have to come out. He said, I don't want to come out. This is not what I want to do. And we saw the frustration of him coming out because of his determination and love for the game. He wants to play summer ball. He loves this team. He didn't want to leave.
So tell me, right, it's his 3rd start in the lineup since the injury. The past 2 have either been pinch hitting or starting as DH. What's it like adjusting to seeing Orlando Leon, one of the best pitchers on the Dragons, as May goes to second, a little hit and run? Friends got it. He throws to first for out number 1. But just to go back to that for a second, after not seeing live pitching for about 2 weeks, how do you adjust?
Thank God for the Stallions having the facility that they do because they have a pitching machine that is live game. Although they do have that pitching machine, it is not real-life pitching. Real-life pitching, it's going to take him a few at-bats to really get the hang of it, see the curve, the slider, the fastball, the arm angle, tons of factors.
It'll bring up Evan Dieter, the center fielder here with May at second. He stole on the pitch that was grounded to third, so there was no opportunity at a double play.
A different strategy than Amsterdam, Dan. We barely saw any steals. We barely saw any hit and runs. Not a ton of bunts laid down. I don't think one was. But if you look at it now, the Stallions learning.
This one's chopped back to Fran. We'll check on May. Throws to first for out number 2. So 2 ground balls to third. 2 outs here in the top of the second.
And Dan, we talked about the 3 guys coming up. May, leadoff, Anderson batting second, and Dieter coming into third this inning. Like we said, below 200 averages, yes. But all 3 players just put the ball in play. They're doing a job for the Stallions, although it might not show it.
May is still at second. It's Mario Trivella to the dish now. He walked to start off the game and then eventually came around to score to make it 1-0.
Trivella at Amsterdam on Wednesday, top of the 8th inning, 2-2 tie, hit a no-doubter to left field, giving them the lead. The Stallions just couldn't hold it.
The only unfortunate thing about that home run was nobody was on base. It was a solo shot. He absolutely rocked that one into the Amsterdam night. It was his second home run on the season. And this is a guy now that head coach Colin Martin knows that he can stack at the top of the lineup with the power and speed in his bat.
Power and speed and consistency. Batting out easily above a 300 right now. On base consistently, a 340 to be exact.
Gabriel Fields throws to first for out number 3. Stallions strand a runner here in this second, but they still lead it by 3 as we head to the bottom half. Dan Challen with you alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth. Stallions with a 3-0 lead as we settle into this bottom of the second. A nice little crowd here at East Field on a Friday night.
Looking like Little League night at East Field, Dan. Tons of Little Leaguers here watching their role models, the Glens Falls Dragons, perform against the Stallions.
It's a big week ahead for the Stallions. They'll play tomorrow against Oneonta, off Sunday and Monday, doubleheader against Albany on Tuesday at home, and then the big game that everybody's looking forward to, the July 4th game at Cantine Field against the Dragons. That's a 6:15 start with the time moved up. Fireworks after the game. And, of course, pregame festivities will be happening the entire time at our producer tonight, Casey DeSelle's house, so should be a very fun day in Saugerties. AJ, it'll be the first time that I'll find myself in a parade on the float. I've been to a couple parades, but me, myself, never actually been on the float, so excited for that next Thursday.
Never been on a float either, Dan, but something that one of us are going to experience for the first time on July 4th.
That's Andrew Gabriel, the shortstop, here up to bat. He's got himself in a 2-1 count. Gabriel, so far this season, is batting .231. The 2-1 to him hits him on the inside, so it's a leadoff walk to start the inning for the Dragons.
Duke with the leadoff hit by pitch to Gabriel. Not what you want there. Yes, he has insurance up 3-0, Dan, but let's not make this the story of last game, right? This is the game for him to come back and really get noticed that he has potential as a pitcher that people really haven't seen 100% yet.
More than just potential. He's got a lot of firepower with that fastball. He blows it by the first baseman, Trey Mariano. Mariano, it's his second game since an injury stinting back to June 7th. So he was off for about 20 days before playing in his first game yesterday against the Oneonta Outlaws, and is in the starting lineup once again here tonight.
Mariano, like you said, had his 20-day stint of a break, but in the past 12 at-bats, really not seeing it well. 1 for 12, batting a .83. Definitely taking more than a few at-bats to really find his rhythm again.
He's got to settle in, but Duke will blow it past him for the first out of the inning, second strikeout of the night for Sean Duke.
Dan, when you said firepower, that was firepower. That was pure heat.
And it'll bring up the catcher, Jordan Marowitz, to the dish. Funny enough, my high school baseball teammate down at Portledge on Long Island. Played 3 years of varsity baseball alongside Jordan. He's committed to Trinity College for next year as a rising freshman.
Not only is he a catcher, he was the Glens Falls national anthem singer tonight. Put on a show for all the Dragons.
He swings through that one for strike one. Merowitz this season batting 167. It's just his 4th game and 2nd start behind the plate. He takes upstairs.
And Dan, that 167, I have to include, it's only been in 6 at-bats. The 167, 1 for 6.
Well, it's not fair to judge
it's
the
not
stats
fair to judge
just
it
yet.
off of
It's
only
been
6 at-bats.
6 at-bats. Duke misses outside. I'll tell you one thing. This guy gets a hold of the ball. Lots of power on that bat. Also has a pretty fast pop time behind the plate. I've seen it firsthand.
You would know it best, Dan. You watched this guy, your teammate. You said you played first base, if I remember correctly.
Senior year first base. I was above a 300 hitter. People tell me Casey did it last week when we were up here at East Field. But it's okay. I'm confident with my baseball abilities. And I know Jordan Merowitz also very skilled. He's going to Trinity next year. Gabriel leads off of first, and Merowitz swings at one in the dirt. It's back-to-back strikeouts for Sean Duke.
Not the swing you want there from Merowitz, just kind of a leaner and swing. Not the at-bat you want. You really just got to look at it, recognize it, and take your body with it. He kind of just let his arms do the wave in there.
So with 2 outs in this inning and a runner at first, it'll bring up the left fielder Ryan Hart. First pitch to him misses up and outside.
And Dan only threw 5 outs so far. An immense difference of a start for Sean Duke.
Hart, 7 games this season, 14 plate appearances, does not have a hit. Searching for number 1 in this game.
Interesting move by the Dragons here, putting in a guy with no hits, but kind of have to. With a guy with no hits, you got to allow him to get his first hit before you can actually really start producing.
He's had 4 walks this season and has come around to score twice, but hasn't seen a ball hit the outfield yet for his first base knock.
The storyline for this game so far, Dan, is the Dragons just taking pitches. There's been strikes down the middle, right on the corner that they're just blatantly taking, thinking they're just balls.
1-2 here with 2 outs in the dirt. Anderson does a nice job keeping it in front of him, prevents Gabriel from moving up.
Anderson, first game behind the plate, he's got to get back to the drop and blocking. It takes a few days to really get back into it because it's a ball coming at your chest.
You would know it best. 2-2, 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Just misses upstairs, and the count will go full.
Second full count for Duke this game. Third, actually, sorry. Third full count this game for Duke.
No. Runner will be released over there at first. Duke misses upstairs. It's his second walk of the inning, 3rd overall. And now with 2 outs, it'll bring up the center fielder, Nick Masserini.
Not the batter you want to walk. I wish all these pitchers and hitters had the stats like we do, Dan, to really recognize who they're facing at the plate. But that's just the guy you just got to throw the fastball to. Saw it twice and looked at it twice. Just locate it.
It'll bring up the 120 hitting Masserini, 25 plate appearances through 10 games. It's been a struggle for him to start out. Only has 5 hits, swings through that one for strike 1.
Stallions have someone in the bullpen, Dan. I can't really get a great look on it.
Masserini swings through it for strike 2. 2 outs, 2 men on here in the bottom of the second. Stallions leading by 3. Duke looking to get out of this inning. It was the same thing in the bottom of the first. 2 runners on with 2 outs. Anderson throws down to first. That one gets by May. A non-necessary error. And runners are going to be at second and third now with 2 outs.
An unnecessary throw for sure. 0-2, 2 outs. He wasn't really that far off to be throwing it, but Zach Anderson made the best decision he thought. And thank God no runners did score.
Jeez. 1-2 count, 2 outs, runners move up to second and third on the error by Anderson. Here's the pitch from Duke. Misses down low, and the count's 2-2.
And Dan, I think we figured out who is in the bullpen for the Stallions. Jace Van Valkenburg, number 20. Seen him definitely a few times this year.
It's the local product, Saugerties, New York himself. The 2-2 is hit over to Trivella for out number 3. So Duke once again gets out of the jam. They leave 2 runners stranded here in this bottom of the second. We head to the third, Stallions leading by 3. Dan Shalom with you, alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth from East Field. Stallions getting ready to go here in the top of the third. They have 2, 3, 4 coming up, and Orlando Leon is out there for his third inning of work. He's given up 3 runs so far, 2 of those being earned. He let up 2 earned runs in his last start here at East Field against the Stallions, so matching those numbers here tonight. It'll be Nate Manley to get things started for Saugerties. Manley 1 for 1 tonight, had a single, and then came around to score in that first. Fouls that one off for strike 1.
Manley came into this game batting a .379 and just keeps on and continues to add to his average. A single in his first at-bat, like you just said, and he's going to continue to smash the ball around the field.
The 0-1 is fouled back. A quick 0-2 count here for Orlando Leon against the Stallions' leadoff man, Nate Manley.
As we see, Dan, Nate Manley started for catcher against Amsterdam, but the catchers are so interchangeable. You could put one at extra hitter and one at DH.
Manley goes down looking on 3 pitches to start this top half of the third. Second K of the day for Orlando Leon, and it'll bring up Andrew Amato, who walked in his first at-bat.
Amato, a guy you do not want to pitch down the middle to. You're going to try to throw your curveball, your changeup, any other pitch in the arsenal that you might have besides the fastball.
So if you credit him with that hit against Amsterdam, he's batting a .666, 6 for 9 at the plate to start off this season.
And with him having not as many at-bats as everyone else, that adds his average up 100 points to what it is right now with that extra hit.
0-1 count. Here's the pitch. Misses down low. It's 1-1. Stallions looking to win here tonight and be tied with Amsterdam at the top of the standings once again. They trail by 1 game currently in the PGCBL East. Amsterdam sitting at 16-3. Off tonight, was off yesterday, and they'll resume action tomorrow night. We'll say Amato went around. It's 2-2.
He just went around from over here. Couldn't really tell if it was he went or not. But first base umpire thought so.
2-2 count. Here's the pitch. Amato pokes that one to the left side. It will drop foul.
From over here, you can't really see the line, Dan, so it's hard to tell if it's a foul ball or a fly ball.
So the count will be 2-2. There's 1 out here in this top half of the third with Andrew Amato at the plate. Byram Hott awaits on deck. And you really look up and down the lineup now. If you stack Amato, Trivella, Manley, Hott, McIntyre, Ford, all those 6 in any order, it's a lethal lineup, whatever way you face it.
you look at it more than just lethal.
Amato strikes out. It's back-to-back Ks for Orlando Leon to start off this top of the third.
If you really look at it from batters 1 to batters 6 in this game, 5 out of the 6 above a 300 average. The only one not, Byram Hott with a 278, and he's well then more capable of getting a 350 or more.
Had a sac fly in his first at-bat. That plated the first run of this ball game. He takes the off-speed for strike one. Hott committed to Louisville, entered the Pac Hub National Transfer Portal, and used Pac Hub to find his new home. He smokes that one up the middle for a 2-out single.
That might have got him at the 300 mark there, Dan. So close to that 300, and we can maybe say 1 through 6, all of them above a 300.
That would be something. Just shows the depth of this Stallions team as a whole. It'll bring up Matt McIntyre, the DH. He reached on a fielder's choice where Amato was out at second in the top half of the first, eventually stole second base, and then stole home. Hott will go to second. The throw down by Merowitz, not in time. A stolen base with 2 outs for Byram Hott, and now a runner in scoring position.
Stallions running on any chance they get today. They learned it, like I said, against Amsterdam, with just not enough runners in scoring position. Now the runners are in scoring position. They're going to find a way to get them around third and score.
Second stolen base of the ball game for Saugerties. McIntyre is down 0-2.
Nice looking pitch there from McIntyre. Kind of surprised he took it.
The 0-2, there'll be a check over there on Hott. They just want to keep him close. Dragons trying to prevent the fourth run of the ball game from being scored here in this third inning. 0-2. Hit over to the right side, and it'll curve foul. No play over there for Justin Gouveia.
Good attempt by Gouveia, though. Almost got on the sliding catch. Just went to the rightest part of the right field.
Stallions at risk of leaving their fourth runner on base for the third straight inning, and then that mark would stem back now all the way to 25 out of the last 27 innings of leaving a runner on base if they can't plate Hott here.
And 31 left on base the past 3 games. That's a stat that you really don't want to say more than once.
I mean, it shows the hitters are getting on base, but just simply not being brought home. That one misses outside, and I think that's why we see increased steals in this game already, hitting runs, just trying to plate those extra guys on the base pass.
You never know, that one run can make a difference in the long run.
2-2 count. McIntyre just stays alive.
That was a good pitch there by Leon. Really just not giving any fastballs right now. He knows the potential of these hitters. He's faced them multiple times. He's done his research. He knows these hitters are going to hit the ball. He's got to prevent it any way possible.
The 2-2. McIntyre fouls it off once again. Two count, 2 outs in this top of the third. Hott is at second. That one bumps in front of Merowitz. He's not going to be able to see it. And now Hott is just 90 feet away from scoring.
Merowitz having a troubled day so far. A pass ball, 3 steals. He's having a troubled day so far.
And one of those pass balls being McIntyre's run, which made it a 3-0 game in that top half of the first. The payoff pitch in the full count misses upstairs. Hott is going to score. So back-to-back pass balls on Jordan Merowitz allows the Stallions to take a 4-0 lead.
From over here, Dan, it kind of looked like McIntyre thought that hit him. And he looked back at the umpire and was like kind of just ready to take off his equipment. But that would have prevented Hott from scoring, so he kind of played it off and ran to first. Going around second, he's like, all right, yeah, that didn't hit me. That was a ball 4.
Heads-up baseball by Matt McIntyre. It'll bring up Justin Ford here with 2 outs. He fouls that one off to the left side. Stallions taking a 4-0 lead in this top of the third. They just had 4 runs in their last game here at East Field and are 1 run away from breaking that total here in the top of the third. Check over on McIntyre. He's not a speed threat necessarily, but he's been very active on the base pass tonight. He has a stolen base and scored on the pass ball.
He will steal. Jarrett May stole before on that hit and run. It doesn't matter the size, how fast you are, the Stallions are going to run.
And there's the steal right there. Merowitz can't gather it. Second stolen base of the ball game for Matt McIntyre.
Matt McIntyre always joking around that he's going to get 3 stolen bases at us. I remember talking to him about a week ago. Pre-game, he looks at me and Coach Calamari and goes, I'm going to get 2 or 3 steals this game. And Amato goes, oh, yeah, same.
Well, he's 1 away from doing it now. Second runner in scoring position of the inning for the Stallions with 2 outs. Ford takes that pitch, and it seems like Merowitz is having trouble even catching that one in the zone for a strike, but he didn't end up gloving it.
It's really hard to get a momentum as a catcher, Dan, when you got 4 games under your plate with 6 at-bats. It's hard to do it. It really is.
1-2 count, 2 outs here in the top of the third. Ford swings through it for strike 3. So after Leon started the inning with 2 strikeouts, gives up a single and a stolen base, and then a walk to Matt McIntyre in which Byram Hott scores. It's 4-0 Stallions. They leave 1 stranded. We head to the bottom half of the third. Stay right with us. Dan Shalom with you alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth. AJ, head coach Colin Martin, opting for a Dallas Hot Wieners call to the bullpen. After Sean Duke keeps a clean 2 innings, it's Jace Van Valkenburg on the mound.
Jace, one of the guys we see pitching often for the Stallions. This is his 6th game that he's appeared in so far this season. He's supporting himself with a 5 ERA. Not the exact thing you want to see, but the numbers don't say it all. In 9 innings of play, 8 strikeouts, 5 walks, and has given up 10 hits. But the hits don't look far beyond.
Duke will leave the game with a final line of 2 innings pitched, a singular hit, no runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. There were 2 runners on base in each of his 2 innings. But none came around to score, so he was able to just put a 0 on the board. First time he's been able to pitch 2 scoreless innings against the Dragons this season.
Like you said, runners were on base, but it's the difference of them not scoring.
First pitch from Van Valkenburg is in there for strike 1.
We look at Van Valkenburg's last start, Dan, June 18th, against Oneonta at their field. He went an inning pitched, he gave up 1 earned run, 1 hit, and a walk, facing 6 batters. So a productive start there for Jace Van Valkenburg.
Van Valkenburg's got himself an 0-1 count. Here's the pitch. Popped up on the infield to the left side. Marcano is under it. He's got it for out number 1.
Jace starting out his outing strong right there. Just throwing the ball for strikes like he does. Ready, 1 out.
It'll bring up the second baseman, Kyle Wu, top of the order to start this bottom half of the third for the Dragons. Wu in this game was the first strikeout of the day for the Dragons. Hits this one over on the right side. May will have a play, He drops it over there on the right side, so it'll be strike one.
If Jarrett May made that play, stealing a base and making that like Mookie Betts type of catch over the shoulder, that would have been impressive.
So Wu had the first strikeout in this game. This team as a whole, they've been pretty bad with the strikeouts as well, AJ. They have 160 on the year, but that only ranks 6th worst. This one's hit out to center field. Dieter is under it. 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 3rd.
You could tell throughout this game, you said 160 strikeouts, 6th worst, like you said. The Glens Falls Dragons have been more of a contact team that just haven't been hit hard or just finding grass yet. Not really the strikeout side of it, though, so far.
It'll bring up the 3-hole hitter, Odilio Cespedes. He has the lone hit in this game for the Dragons. That was a 2-out double in the bottom of the 1st.
An absolute rocket there by Cespedes in right center field. The speedy Bach couldn't even get to it. That's how hard it was hit.
That one's in there for strike one. Cespedes second on the team for average. 1-1 misses outside. Was just his 3rd extra base hit of the season in that bottom half of the 1st, but the Dragons not able to bring him home despite their full 4-hole hitter who's on deck, Stephen Catch, walking. He smacks this one out over to Amato. He's got it for out number 3. First ball that's hitting the outfield to Amato. He catches for out number 3. Stallions lead it 4-0. We're a third of the way through here at East Field. Stay with us. Dan Shalom with you, alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth. Orlando Leon is out there for his 4th inning of work. It's the longest he's pitched so far this season. We'll see how he fares here in this 4th. It'll be Anthony Marcano, the 3rd baseman, to lead things off. So far in this game, it's been all Saugerties, 3 runs coming in the top half of the 1st, and then they added another in the top half of the 3rd. This pace different to what we've been used to. We're already in the 4th inning, and it's only 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it's a weird momentum for this game so far, but it's really been the name of errors, though, for the Glens Falls Dragons in a way that they aren't even showing up on the error sheet. It's more on the walks, the stolen bases, and pass balls. It really comes to that. We have 3 hits and 4 runs. In a real game, that's hard to do.
Yeah, 2 of the runs that the Stallions have scored in this game have been by way of the passed ball. So Merowitz struggling to start off this game. There's also been 3 stolen bases. The 0-1 here to Marcano is down low for ball 1.
You said 3 stolen bases. Who stole the 3 bases so far?
It's been Matt McIntyre twice, and then Byram Hott has the other one.
So Matt McIntyre for 2. He gets 1 more. I can almost guarantee he's going to say something to Colin Martin, saying you got to steal me more.
2-1 count here to Anthony Marcano, top half of the 4th. Here's the pitch from Leon. Gets Marcano swinging. We saw Leon settle in nicely into this game. Despite giving up that single that led to a run scoring in the top half of the 3rd, he's really only given up 2 runs in this ball game. And he also, AJ, has 4 strikeouts on the day.
He's having a good day at the mound. I almost said plate. At the mound. We saw him. He had a 1.74 on June 14th. It's at a 3.75 now, but it really doesn't tell the full story.
He strikes out Marcano for the second time tonight for the first out of the inning. It'll bring up the first baseman, Jarrett May. May walked in that second and actually got all the way over to third before 3 straight groundouts to end the inning.
Stallions have been having some trouble, like you say, executing the man on third. Really just kind of leaving him out there with as little help as really given in some points of the game. Some points during the game, like you said, 4-0. They come around with no problem.
Yeah, now through 24 innings of Stallions baseball, they've left at least one runner on base in 22 out of those 24, amounting to now 35 runners left on base through the last 3 games and 3 innings here tonight.
Yes, that's a stat that you really don't want to come off the mouth, but in reality, it's a good stat.
It means runners are on base. May flies out to right. 2 outs here in this top half of the fourth. It'll bring up Zach Anderson, the catcher, here with 2 outs in this top half of the fourth. Anderson, in his first trip, grounding over to third, still trying to find himself after not being able to play for about 2 weeks. First pitch to him, upstairs for ball 1. AJ, you're a catcher. Just give it to me at this point. Merowitz having trouble just catching a high fastball right there. He struggled all game long with blocking, just even catching. What's going on right now in his head?
He has a mental block in his head right now. He's expecting nothing in the dirt. As a catcher, you got to expect it in the dirt and just react to the fastball by putting your glove out. He's really playing the game of, I don't know where the ball's going. He already had some trouble in the first few innings, 2 pass balls, 3 stolen bases. It's hard to come back from that, Dan, especially after a first bad inning. Like 2 through 9 are going to be trouble.
2-1 count here to Anderson. The pitch grounded over to the left side. It's a base hit for Zach Anderson. And the Stallions will have a runner on first with 2 outs.
The coaches in the dugout right now are going to be happy, Dan, because that's exactly what they wanted out of Zach Anderson this game. Like we said, on June 12th, he went 1 for 2 at Oneonta.
It's just his second hit since the injury. Had a hit against Albany on Tuesday, so now has strung along back-to-back hits in his last 2 games. Promising signs from Zach Anderson.
It just adds to the catcher depth that we have already, Dan. Like you said, Josh Blackmore. Then we have Nate Manley. And then rounding it off with Zach Anderson, it really says something about the Stallions' depth.
And just for Anderson to even be back here to play this summer, had 3 knocked teeth in that play behind home plate, and then has just been rehabbing that ever since, is willing to do all the surgeries, did not want to leave the Stallions whatsoever, stayed with the team throughout, was at every single game, even after getting those teeth knocked out, was in the cage, working hard, catching bullpens, doing whatever he could to get back onto the field, and now he's back for good. Dieter is at the plate here. He's in an 0-1 count. 2 outs in this top of the fourth with the Cypress College product Anderson standing over there at first. The 0-1 misses on the inside. Merowitz unable to grab it once again. And also for Anderson, he's a guy who's from California. So to stay away from his family after that gruesome injury as well and play through it, not go back home, stay here on the East Coast, just shows how committed he is. Dieter hits this one over to right. Gouvea's got it for out number 3. So the Stallions strand a runner here in this top half of the fourth, but lead it by 4 as we head to the bottom of the fourth. Dan Challen with you alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth from East Field in Glens Falls, New York. Getting ready for the bottom of the fourth. Stallions have played it 4 through 4 and are looking great offensively so far.
They really are looking great offensively, and I feel like we say that consistently every game. It really just comes down to the pitching. The Stallions' bats really get it going. But in reality, the pitching, it is the first ERA in the PGCBL, but they do have their walk troubles.
They're sporting a 3.16, though. That's the best in the East and West. Funny enough, AJ, I was doing my research before this game. The Stallion staff, 657 batters faced this season, and you would think, well, the more batters faced, then maybe the more runs or, hits or the worse your numbers would be. But it's actually wrong. The Dragons have faced 594 batters this season as a staff, so about 100 less than the Stallions, and have the worst ERA in the entire league. It's funny how those numbers work.
It makes you think. How is that possible? Because in reality, Dan, 100 players faced less. Wouldn't you expect them to have a lower one, less chance of giving up a run?
You would think, but maybe it's just because the Dragons are playing those 7-inning games with that mercy rule adds into it. Stallions, regardless, doing a great job on the mound with that 3-1-8. Catch flew out over to center field to start the inning. It's the third baseman, Jack Friend, at the dish now, who's 0 for 1 tonight.
Friend, like I said before, one of those batters under 200, just trying to find his mark.
He'll find it right there. That one gets past Marcano. It's a one-out base hit for Jack Friend here in the bottom of the fourth. Next batter for the Dragons is the shortstop Andrew Gabriel. He got hit by the pitch to start off that bottom of the second, but never came around to score. Did reach third base, but nobody able to get a hit to bring him over to home plate. It's the first base runner that Van Valkenburg has allowed in his relief outing. Retired 4 straight before that Friend single.
Van Valkenburg really doing exactly as he was told coming out of the bullpen. Just throw strikes, get outs. We've seen it so far, and he's going to continue to do it. He's a pitcher that throws strikes.
That one's popped up over on the left side. Amato shades over. He's got it for out number 2.
Dan, I know we've only seen Amato a few games now, but it's weird seeing him in the outfield. We've only seen him at DH and EH so far. No outfield work so far this season.
He's had 2 balls hit to him tonight and has fielded both cleanly. 2 outs in this bottom of the fourth. It'll bring up Trey Mariano, the first baseman. Yeah, go ahead, AJ.
I was going to say, through 12 at-bats, like we said before, now 13 because he's 0 for 1 today. 1 for 13. Really not making a strong case so far.
That one's in there for strike 1. Yeah, you look at Mariano, he was the second strikeout of the day for Sean Duke. Has struggled at the plate, but has only been up 13 times. So he has a lot of time to turn it around. Nice block there by Anderson. Limits the runner at first.
Great job by Anderson through 3 2/3. We see no pass balls, blocking the ball, no stolen bases. He's really doing a good job behind the plate. He's taking control of it. Although it is his first game behind there. It's like he's never left.
1-1 count. Van Valkenburg with a nice pitch for strike 2.
Mariano just really leaving 2 fastballs down the middle. If you're 1 for 13, you see a fastball, your eyes glow up. That's the pitch you want to get you out of the slump.
Off speed was hung in the top of the zone. It's fouled off to the left side. Count will stay at 1-2.
Everyone's running by us, going for that ball.
Well, the promo here, AJ, I believe, is if you get a ball and return it, I believe you get a free ice cream. So what kid wouldn't want that? I'd be chasing that ball every single time.
I might hop off the mic and go get a ball. I want some ice cream.
This one, once again, is fouled back. The count will stay at 1-2. So it's a fun little contrast. The ball before was fouled all the way to the left side, and all the kids ran over there. And now this one to the right side, so they're all flooding back and forth, chasing that free ice cream, and I don't blame them one bit.
Yeah. If I am off the mic for 10 seconds, Dan, it's because I ran to go get a foul ball.
I would be okay with that. Trey Mariano here in a 1-2 count. 2 outs in this bottom of the 4th. Here's the pitch. Looped up the middle for a base hit. Dragons will have runners at first and second with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th.
Mariano doing exactly what we set up in this Pac Cup broadcast booth, Dan. Now he's 2 for 14. Still finding his groove, but that's the hit you want, a hit up the middle. Nothing less, nothing more.
So now it'll bring up Jordan Marowitz, the catcher, struck out in that bottom half of the 2nd. Looking to change his fortunes here in the bottom of the 4th with a runner in scoring position. First pitch to him misses outside.
And Dan, looking at the scoreboard, 4-0 Stallions through 3 2/3. 4 hits, 1 error. The Dragons, no runs, but 3 hits. Explain it to me on why the 4 runs are just
Marowitz hits that one to left field. Amato is under it for out number 3. So for the 3rd time in this game, the Dragons have stranded 2 runners on base. We head to the 5th. Stallions up by 4. Dan Shalom with you alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pac Hub broadcast booth. Orlando Leon out there for his 5th inning of work. It's the longest he's gone so far this season. Has only let up 2 earned runs here tonight. The other 2 pass balls on catcher Jordan Marowitz. And in his 4 innings has pitched 2 clean. 2 of those giving up 3 runs in the 1st and then 1 run in the 3rd. He'll have to face the top of the lineup here to start the 5th. It's Mario Trivella. Trivella in this game 0 for 1 with a walk.
Like you said, Dan, Leon just doing a great job really solidifying the runs. In reality, there could be more than 4. Like we said, enough runners left on base, but this could have got out of hand quick. But Leon just doing a job.
That one gets past Marowitz for ball 1. Like you mentioned, the runners left on base in this game for the Stallions. They have left at least 1 runner on base in every single inning so far.
You put it into perspective, it's 7-0 instead of 4-0. Runners left on base can really, really hurt you.
Trivella hits this one up the middle for a leadoff base hit.
Trivella with a walk so far, a grounded to the shortstop, and now with his 3rd at-bat in just the top of the 5th, a single up the middle.
It'll bring up the extra hitter Nate Manley. Manley with a single in the 1st, eventually came around to score, striking out in the top of the 3rd.
A tough position for Leon now. You have a speedy guy on first, a guy batting a .380 up at bat right now, and Andrew Amato up next. This is a position where you got to get an out right now.
We'll see if the Dragons decide to go to the bullpen here in this 5th. It's Michael Weed warming up. Weed, his last 3 appearances have all been against Saugerties, so a familiar arm. Trivella takes off for second, and Marowitz just can't gather it right now behind the plate.
Marowitz is so focused on the runner, Dan. He's not even letting the ball travel into the glove. He's had some troubles with it with innings 2, innings 3, innings 1 was the most. We saw many stolen bases, pass balls. But he's at the point where it's happened so much, it's going to be hard to recover.
So now Trivella's at second with nobody out. Manley pokes it to the right side. They are going to send Trivella home. Here's the throw to the plate. It is not in time. It's an RBI single for Nate Manley, and the Stallions lead it 5-0.
Dan, we talked about Manley being able to poke it all parts of the field. A single between short and third, his last at-bat, and now one between first and second, his second hit.
Manley has been great tonight. We are now going to see a Dallas Hot Wieners called to the bullpen for the Dragons. AJ, that throw out there by Gouveia, it beat Trivella by a good amount right there, but Marowitz, once again, just having trouble gathering himself and getting that tag down.
It's really just been a head case so far, Dan. We've seen troubles. As a catcher, you're focused on so many things throughout the field that sometimes one thing is above the other. And in that one, it was get the out. He didn't do it.
Has been having trouble in this game. It's Michael Weed on to pitch for the Dragons. Stallions leading by 5 with Manley at first. We'll be right back. Alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth. Stallions have put up 1 here in this 5th. Nate Manley is over at first, and the new pitcher for the Dragons is number 33, Michael Weed, an arm that the Stallions are more than familiar with.
Stallions been facing him like BP kind of. They face him so many times. They have to be accustomed to his pitches by now, Dan.
I mean, how can you not be after facing him in the last 3 outings?
In his last 3 outings, 1 2/3 pitched, 3 1/3 pitched, and only went 2 batters in his first start against the Stallions.
Andrew Amato at the plate. He takes ball 2.
And you look at the ERA here, Dan, a 12.46. Through just 6 games in the PGCBL, in a scenario like this is not the exact guy you want in the situation.
Amato's taken 3 straight balls from Weed. Weed having trouble locating to start this outing. Manley is over at first. There's nobody out in this top half of the 5th. That one misses outside. It's a 4-pitch walk to Andrew Amato.
4-pitch walk, Dan, and another passed ball there by Marowitz. Do you think a timeout's called and a talk to Marowitz? I've never seen it before, but at some point, I've seen it happen to maybe one person in my life of baseball in general. But sometimes the catcher needs to get talked to too, because it's stressful back there.
No doubt about it. It'll be Byram Hott here at the plate with runners at first and second. Manley goes over to third. Amato goes to second, and there is no shot at getting him. Both huge leads, so both runners move up 90 feet.
2 things there, Dan. Manley had about 40 feet off the bag where he was taking a lead, and Michael Weed took about 3 seconds to get in his motion, possibly forgetting he had runners on base.
Hott was on that one, fouling it straight back. Counts 1-1.
Hott having a few hard games these past few. Like we said, this game, a sac fly in the first to get the first RBI of the game, and then a single in the third with stealing a base as well.
Trying to knock in 2 runs. That one's blocked there by Merowitz. Count is 2-1.
I think that was the hardest ball to block there, Dan. It broke before the plate, and Merowitz did block it, hopefully gaining him some momentum in these next few innings.
Hott has 13 RBIs in the season. That's 2 shy of his teammate Mario Trivella, who leads the team. He could be tied with him now, though. Amato is going to be held up at third. It's an RBI single for Byram Hott, and it's 6-0 Stallions.
Just a great hit by Byram Hott, Dan. Same hit as his first one of the game, right up the middle. And when you're struggling in a few games, any coach, any hitting coach, anyone that you talk to will say, just put one up the middle, man, because if you try to kill it, you're going to pull yourself out of the at-bat.
It's Matt McIntyre at the dish now. So those runs scoring means that Orlando Leon leaves with a final line of 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks. Of course, 6 total runs, but 2 pass balls by Merowitz. Makes it only 4 on his line. Hott steals second on the play. That one misses upstairs. It's the second stolen base of the night for Byram Hott on that last pitch.
So McIntyre with 2, Hott with 2, and then Jarrett May with the hit-and-run type of steal. So that's 5, and we're only in the top of the 5th, Dan.
It's a complete change of strategy from that Amsterdam game 2 days ago.
But also 2 very different catchers. Catching for Amsterdam that game was Jackson Tilley, the Cincinnati commit. And this game's a different one. If Jordan Merowitz committed to Trinity, it's 2 different catchers, you know. You see how both catch, and you kind of base your strategy and game plan off of that.
It's a walk there to Matt McIntyre, and the bases are now loaded for a very dangerous Justin Ford. 2 runs have already scored in this inning, and now there's a chance at a lot more damage being done. Still no outs through 4 batters.
Justin Ford so far this game.
5, excuse me.
Justin Ford this game, 1 for 2 so far, with an RBI single in the first and then struck out swing in the third. Bases loaded for Justin Ford is exactly what he wants.
That one misses on the inside. That walk by McIntyre is his second of the night. He's reached base safely all 3 times he's been at the dish. Ford has an RBI single in this game, looking for more. Nice block there by Merowitz.
Merowitz finding his groove a little bit. The last 2 drop and block opportunities done successfully. The first 5 or 6 before that, not so great.
Ford in the first had that RBI single, which brought home Nate Manley. That was the second run of the ballgame. Weed misses outside. So what do you do in this scenario? It's a 3-0, nobody out. Bases are loaded.
No reason to swing. We've seen about 5 or 6 straight balls now, Dan. Until he gets that first strike, no reason.
A 4-pitch walk. It's an RBI base on balls for Justin Ford, and the Stallions are up 7-0.
And already there has not been an out, Dan, and the pitching coach is going to talk to Michael Weed as Merowitz joins him at the mound.
So since Weed has come in, he's given up 3 walks and an RBI single to Byram Hott. So far in this game, Mario Trivella and Nate Manley both scoring twice. And Andrew Amato also scoring just now off that RBI walk. There is a new pitcher in the bullpen for the Dragons. It's number 18, Ben Cohen. We'll see if they decide to go to him. So far in this game, a 3-run first inning by Saugerties, and then they tacked on a run off a stolen home plate in the third to make it 4-0, and then they've put up 3 here in this 5th to give them a 7-0 lead. Trying to extend on it, there's still nobody out in this inning. It's Anthony Marcano at the plate. Weed has dealt 3 walks to start off his relief outing. First pitch here to Marcano. In there for strike 1. Marcano, a guy with plenty of power.
quick talk to the coach, and the next pitch is a strike. That's really what you look for on a mound visit, just to calm down your pitcher and get him right back on the groove.
Marcano fouls that one off. 0-2 for Weed after dealing 3 walks and an RBI single to start off this 5th.
Yeah, now it's just for Weed to limit the damage on the base paths, right? You have bases loaded, no outs. Get out of it the least amount.
That one's down low, blocked in front of the plate by Marowitz. It'll be a 1-2 count. Bases are loaded. It's a 1-2 count here to Anthony Marcano. The pitch misses off the outside. It's 2-2.
Dan, we saw in Marcano's last game against Albany, which was June 25th, in an 11-1 win. He went 0 for 1, only one at bat, pinched hit.
He smokes that one over to left. It will get down for a base hit. Hott is going to score. It's 8-0 Stallions.
McIntyre almost caught up with Hott there, Dan. McIntyre didn't 100% think that was going to drop and got scored, but surprised me that he almost thought that was caught up in left field.
So back-to-back RBIs has made it 8-0 Stallions. The bases are still loaded here for the power-hitting Jarrett May.
Jarrett May so far, Dan, we talked about his struggles a little bit throughout the beginning of the season. Well, he absolutely – oh, I thought that was him. No, my bad. I'm sorry. I miscommunicated my players.
Don't apologize, AJ. It's all good. Bases are loaded here for the Stallions. It's a 2-0 count to Jarrett May. Saugerties putting up 4 runs already in this inning and looking to add more. Off-speed is in there for strike 1 of the at-bat.
Weed working in that slider there. You can see it's a very effective. It looks like it's going to hit May, and then the bread goes right into the basket at home plate.
2-1. May fouls that one off to the left side. That's the 3rd pitch in this game where we've seen May make extremely hard contact, just foul to the left side, showing that he's early over there as a righty hitter. The 2-2. Strike 3 gets him swinging for the first out of the inning.
Good at bat there by May. Like you said, Dan, you said it actually perfectly. You said a tiny bit early on that fastball, a tiny bit early on the slider, and it's really forcing him to hit it to the warm-up bullpen in left field.
And Zach Anders Dragons right now. It's a 5-run 5th, and the Stallions are up 9-0.
And Dan, we talked about the struggles that they have. Their ERA as a team is an 8.17. So far through 5, 9 runs off of 8 hits. It adds up.
The stats living up to the billing. It's Evan Dieter at the plate. The bases are still loaded. 1 out in this inning. Stallions, if Dieter doesn't ground into a double play, will bat around in this inning with Mario Travella on deck. The 0-1. Grounded back to Weed. He will throw to second. And Dieter not even running to first. Jogged all the way there. Grounds into a 4-6-3 double play. And you wonder right there, just a lack of hustle by Evan Dieter, questionable.
Yeah, very questionable, Dan. I'm kind of speechless, surprised. Interesting. I think he might have thought there was 2 outs, maybe. That's the only reasonable response for it. Coach Collin does not look happy at all. By the looks of it, he kind of just told him maybe sit down because Cuello is going into the outfield now. Yeah,
so a defensive replacement. Evan Dieter is out of this game. Mike Cuello into center after he grounded into a 5-4-3 double play and simply jogged over to first. Stallions still do a bunch of damage in that 5th. They put up 5. We head to the bottom half. Saugerties up 9-0. Dan Chalm with you alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pac Hub broadcast booth. Mike Cuello has come in as a defensive substitution in center field after that confusing play by Evan Dieter. It'll be Nate Williams onto the mound for the Stallions. AJ, what should we know about this guy?
Nate Williams, an SEC pitcher, and really showing it throughout this season. 4 2/3 inning pitched, appeared in 2 games so far. In those 2 games, a 0.00 ERA, picking himself up a win as well. 6 strikeouts and only allowing 2 hits, Dan.
First batter he faces here in the bottom of the 5th will be the left fielder Ryan Hart. Deals a first pitch ball. Jace Van Valkenburg, a great outing for him. 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks.
Yeah, definitely an outing that he needed. The last outing had some troubles, walks, hits. This was the Jace we know.
And it was also the Sean Duke that we know as well. Both those guys combining for 4 scoreless innings and just 3 hits on the board for the Dragons, so the pitching more than sound here tonight.
Coach Rich Doobie up in the dugout, definitely all happy.
Williams locates the fastball, and we talk about his fastball. This was a guy that was topping 96 in 2020 before even going to college. He's more than effective out there on the mound. Here's his 1-2. That's looped into center field, and the one flaw that he has is if you get the bat on the ball, it's most likely going to go to the outfield.
Yes, but in most cases, Dan, throughout the 4 2/3 inning we've seen him pitch so far throughout this season, he does have 6 strikeouts. So a guy that will strike you out and really limit the hits given to you. If not, he'll walk you before he hits you.
That's just the 3rd hit he's given up in 20 batters. So pretty sick numbers out of Nate Williams. It'll bring the 10-hole hitter Nick Masserini to the dish with a runner on first. Masserini hits that one to center. Cuello goes back on it. Few steps short of the track. He's got it for out number 1.
Cuello making an immediate impact with his speed and his ability to track down the ball in center field. First ball hit in the air at least.
If you remember, we saw that great defensive assist from him in center field at Cantine to end the game against Glens Falls last time, nabbing the runner at third. He has a great arm out there.
That was a pitcher-perfect throw, Dan. Really at the glove at third and just putting the glove down.
With 1 out in this inning, it'll be the top of the lineup for the Dragons. Justin Gouveia at the dish. Pitch misses inside.
If you really look at Nate Williams' last few innings, Dan, he came into this season with the vibe of control issues, but I've really seen no control issues so far this season. It's really been straight just striking out, and if he's not striking out, an occasional walk.
Yeah, he's pitched 4 2/3 to start off this season. All of those have been against the Dragons. That one's hit out Cuello's way once again. 2 balls to center field, 2 outs here in this bottom of the 5th.
The Cuello impact, Dan, in center field. What else?
He was our player of the game a couple nights ago. Went just a home run shy of the cycle, was 3 for 4 in that win against Albany, and he just talked about being in the cage, listening to the coaches, absorbing that feedback, and really attacking those first pitch fastballs. And we've seen that a lot throughout this team. It's not just been Cuello, it's a constant theme overall. First pitch to the second baseman, Kyle Wu, is outside for ball 1.
It really has been a constant theme, Dan. You look at the batters 1 through 10, and you see more success in the batters that hit on the first pitch, that have the ability to not hesitate and just swing on the first pitch that they like. The guys that don't, they could be losing a fastball down the middle.
Hart is over at first. There's 2 outs in this bottom of the 5th. Stallions leading by 9. Williams just can't pull down the off speed right there. It's a 3-0 count. Some of the control issues that we know are coming into it, a little apparent to start off the outing here tonight. The 3-0. Goes right back to the fastball for strike 1. Even though he has the control issues, he does a great job settling himself down.
He does do a great job settling himself down, and just him having the ability of all these pitching coaches. Mississippi State, a great program, and you have yourself an MLB World Series pitching coach champ in the dugout. If you look at both those together, it gives you the ability to make like an unstoppable pitcher.
And his ability to recover as well. Went from the 3-0 count now to a full count with 2 outs. Runner is released. That one's poked into right field. Ford charges it. Got it for out number 3. Back-to-back innings where the Dragons have left a runner on base. We head to the 6th. Saugerties up 9-0. Dan Shalom with you here alongside AJ DiBenedetto in the Pack Hub broadcast booth. Michael Weed comes in for a singular inning, and he ends up giving up 5 runs, blowing this game wide open. That's number 18, Ben Cohen, on from the pen here for the Dragons. Cohen hasn't made an appearance this season for the Dragons, stands at 6'1", 170, teammate of Jace Van Valkenburg at Herkimer.
We've seen a lot of pitchers, mostly pitchers from Herkimer this season, Dan. We saw one against Oneonta, we see one now, and then we have one on our team. So Herkimer guys are flying around the PGCBL.
And it makes sense as well, as Herkimer is central New York area, so a lot of guys staying close to home here in the summer. We'll see how Cohen fares in his first outing of the season. He'll have to face the top of the lineup. Mario Trivella started off last inning with a single and was nearly up there in that top half of the 5th before Evan Dieter grounded out into the 5-4-3 double play.
Trivella, we saw him lead off last time, Dan, right?
Yeah.
And look what happened. He got on first, and then the domino kind of just fell, right?
He started a 5-run rally.
Yeah, so the domino, Trivella, then you go Manley, and then Amato, and then Hot, and it goes player after player after player. And it really shows you the consistency of this team, 1 through 9. Everyone has a different job, everyone has a different role, and everyone understands their role being the best part.
Stallions got 7 straight batters on base in that top half of the 5th before a strikeout and a double play to end the inning, but all 10 batters did get up to the plate in that last half. We'll see if Mario Trivella can start things again. First pitch from Cohen misses on the outside. It's 1-0.
Cohen, a guy that we really can't say a ton on throughout the PGCBL this year because we haven't seen him yet.
He smokes that one into center field, but Masserini is under it for out number 1.
Trivella consistently putting up just hard hit balls throughout the infield, outfield, getting singles, getting doubles, and then some of them aren't going to land. That one being one of them.
So it'll bring up Nate Manley. Manley had an RBI single, which brought home Trivella in that last top half of the 5th. Manley has also scored himself twice tonight. First pitch to him is outside for ball 1. One-0 count, 1 out here in this top half of the 6th. Stallions up by 9 after an onslaught of runs in that 5th, putting up 5 and then putting up 4 between the 1st and 3rd innings to give themselves a 9-run cushion. Hey, AJ, the lights are on. Call Richards Electric. 1-1 count, 1 out here in this top half of the 6th to Nate Manley. Nearly missed that one. That was an off-speed pitch hanging in the middle of the zone.
Yeah, that was the pitch that Manley's arguing to himself about. That's got to be hitting his mind, but a good pitch and not a pitch you expect a hanging slider, so if you don't get it, it isn't the worst thing.
1-2 count, 1 out here in this top half of the 6th. That one misses. Merowitz still struggling as that one gets by him. It's 2-2.
Dan, it's a weird idea, but it makes you think. He's blocking the very hard ones, right? But then when the runners are on and like you have a hit off the glove type of one, it makes you think what's going through his mind behind the plate.
I mean, you would know best. You're a catcher yourself.
Yeah, but I'm not behind the plate though. Like with the situation down 9-0, it just working to really rebuild the catcher behind the connection and the pitcher at the mound. It really means a lot.
2-2 count to Manley. Misses outside. The count will go full. Back-to-back innings for a full count for the Stallions. Trying to add on that coveted 10th run and keep the Dragons to nothing in the 6th and 7th to get out of here early. Manley fouls that one off. We'll do it again at 3-2.
And Dan, they're still running, even in the parking lot.
Yeah, so you can't see it here on the broadcast. The way that East Field is set up, the entrance is on the right side. All the kids that were sitting in their seats just went flooding out of the stadium to chase that coveted ball for a home run. That one misses down low. It's a one-out walk for Nate Manley.
Again, Dan, we talked about walking the Stallions as a whole, right? You walk the Stallions, now you got to worry about them stealing and getting a hit, right? Now you have number 17, Andrew Amato, up, and he was a 2023 PGCBL MVP. Everyone in the league knows that. It's not a secret. You know the MVP of the league last year. It's like any professional sport. It's known, it's publicized. Andrew Amato has been publicized. Everyone knows his skill and what he does to the Stallions. Don't throw a fastball.
First pitch to him is upstairs. He's been publicized, and he's also delivered as advertised so far this season. He's sporting a 5.66 average coming into this game. 2 walks tonight. One of those gave the Stallions runners at first and second before an RBI single from Byram Hott. That one misses down low. 2-0 to Amato. He walked on 4 pitches last time up, so Ben Cohen not wanting to give him anything to hit.
A lot of pitchers don't. That's why he said 3 at-bats today, 2 of them being walked. No pitcher really wants to throw to Amato. Every pitcher wants to keep the lowest ERA possible.
And that's why. A base hit there for Andrew Amato smokes that one to right. Manley's going to hold up at second, and now runners are at first and second for the Stallions with 1 out.
Dan, I would like to say I was right. Don't throw him a fastball. He scorched at it about 100 miles per hour where no one had a chance. It was hit so fast that Manley couldn't even get to third.
We'll see a pinch runner here for Amato. It'll be Tyler Bach. Managerial decision there by head coach Colin Martin, wanting to get those extra runs in.
And also with the guy that just got back, he's been on base a ton. He's still working his legs out. He's playing left field. Give him a break,
Definitely don't want to injure him or overuse him so early into this season for him. There's 1 out here in this top half of the 6th. It'll bring up Byram Hott. Hott tonight, he's 2 for 2. He also 3 RBIs on the night. Had a sac fly in the first, which plated the first run of the ballgame.
And you can really see the different type of mechanics, just the little things in Hott's swing. Every foul ball, you see him warming up to just pretend hit a ball, right? Get the mechanics down, get the arm where it's supposed to go. In this game, it's paid off. So far, a sac fly RBI, a single, and 2 singles, actually. So it's working out in his favor.
Also has 2 stolen bases on the night. Runners are at first and second. Hott smokes that one to center field. He's now 3 for 3. Manley is going to hold up at third, and for back-to-back innings, the bases are loaded for Saugerties.
Hott has 3 singles now, Dan. Every single. Get that?
Every single
is up the middle. Like exactly what coach tells you to do. He's doing it picture perfect right now.
I think what we've seen in the change in him is he's just not trying as much. When you're really determined to get a hit in a slump, doesn't always lead to good things. Just not overthinking it, putting his hands into the middle of the plate and knocking it up the middle. Bases are loaded. One out for Matt McIntyre. Merowitz blocks that one.
And now, Dan, there's consequences that come with another run scored. The PGCBL 7-inning rule. If you're up by 10 in the 7th inning, it's called a mercy rule. Now we're up 9, bases loaded. One gets by them. It's a mercy rule potential.
Bullpen will still have to close out 2 innings if a run is to score. There's 1 out. Stallions were in this situation last time as McIntyre hits that one to left field. Under it is Hart. Tagging to home is Manley. He will reach without a throw. It's 10-0 Saugerties.
10-0 is right now. 10 hits, 10 runs. Now it seems more adding up, Dan. Like before we had 5 runs off of 4 hits. Now 10 runs off of 10 hits. Makes more sense statistically.
It'll bring up Justin Ford with runners at first and second. There's 2 outs here in this top half of the 6th, and the Stallions are into double digits. First pitch to Ford is lined into left center field. It will get down. Coming around to score is Bach. Stallions are up 11-0.
Ford just continuing the Ford rally. I mean, there's not much more to say here, Dan. It's really
third RBI of the night.
Hit after hit, and it could be anywhere on the field. You can hit it down the right field line, the left field line, or hit it over the center fielder's head. It's honestly impressive to watch what he's doing at the plate right now, because with only 2 at-bats at Seton Hall, not really given the chance as a true freshman, he's getting the chance now.
There's a reason he's at Seton Hall to begin with, a .638 hitter in high school. He's 2 for 3 tonight. He has 3 RBIs. He also, one of those RBIs being an RBI walk. So this guy not needing even to put the ball in play to bring runs home. So with 2 outs and runners at first and second, it's Anthony Marcano at the dish. Throw down there from Merowitz is blocked at first base by Mariano.
Dan, let me give you a little fact. We've played the Glens Falls Dragons 5 times this season, and in those 5 times, 3 of those games, double digits for the Stallions. In those 3 games in double digits, 12-2, 10-6, and now 11-0.
Marcano rocks that one to left center field. Going back on it is Masserini. He's got it on the track for out number 3. Stallions plate 2 here in this top half of the 6th. They lead it by 11. Stay with us. Dan Shalom with you, joined alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth. AJ gearing up for the bottom half of the 6th. Nate Manley on the mound for his 2nd inning of work, and things pretty clean for him in that bottom half of the 5th.
Yeah, Nate Williams really just doing the Nate Williams hype train since he came into this PGCBL season. He was a newcomer, came a little bit late, but that's because when you play for a team in the SEC, you are going to show up a little late. But now that he has showed up, it's been no complaints from this side of the ball.
No doubt about that. The Stallions are up 11-0 in this ball game off of 11 hits. Have shut out the Dragons and held them to just 4 hits so far, and they'll look to continue to do so against one of the guys who does have a hit in this ballgame for the Dragons, Odilio Cespedes.
One of the great hitters in the PGCBL, Cespedes. You could really see his swing every single pitch. It's with pure anger, you know. He wants to crush it every time.
Pokes that one to the left side for his second base hit of the night.
And I don't know if you recognize that there, Dan. The infield shift. You had Trivella all the way to the right side of the second base line. You had Hott up the middle, and you had Marcano in between second and third. And Cespedes hit that so hard, it got through all of it.
He's been one of, if not the best hitter on the Dragons so far this season. So with the runner on first, it'll bring up Stephen Catch, the DH. First pitch to him misses upstairs. One-oh count. Here's the pitch. Williams throws the high cheese by him for strike one.
Catch, a rising freshman at Mount St. Mary's University this year, came in with a good year, but for the PGCBL so far, Dan, a 2.73.
Williams misses down low with the fastball. It's 2-1. Stallions leading the Dragons here in the bottom half of the sixth, 11-0, searching for their 5th win over Glens Falls this year, and it would put them back atop the PGCBL standings, would be tied for first with the Amsterdam Mohawks if they can close out these last 2 or last 4 innings of play here from East Field. Cespedes leads off of first here in a 2-2 count. The pitch hit up the middle, perfect double play ball, but Trivella boots it. No play for Hott at first, so it'll be runners at first and second after an E4 by Mario Trivella.
Unusual there by Trivella, Dan. We just talked about before the games, the errors between the infield, and a little bit of a sloppy one there, but with 11-0.
So the Stallions had no errors last game, but that now marks 7 in their last 4 ball games where they've had at least 1 error. With runners at first and second, it'll bring up the third baseman, Jack Friend. First pitch from Williams, down low. Nice block right there by Anderson, and it's got to be tough if you're Anderson trying to block 95-mile-per-hour fastball.
Especially one that's bouncing off the dirt, and although you do have a chest protector, you really think, do I want to get hit in the chest with a 95-mile-per-hour fastball?
I certainly wouldn't.
It makes you think.
This one's popped up right in front of Williams. It'll be Anderson to take it. He's got it for out number 1.
Anderson, not one pass ball yet this game, making fly ball catches right in front of the plate, and no one has stolen them yet, Dan. You really can't ask for a better performance behind the plate. This is what any coach in the NCAA, in the PGCBL, or throughout the world looks for.
He's been extremely effective here today. With 1 out in this inning, it'll bring up shortstop Andrew Gabriel. Gabriel in this game is 0 for 1, got hit by the pitch in the bottom half of the second. This has been a constant theme for the Dragons. In this game, 3 innings where they've had 2 runners left on base, have 2 runners here on base, just haven't been able to bring anybody home.
Definitely having trouble as a team, Dan. It's hard, catching momentum right away.
And that could be batter interference right there. We'll see what they call it. Anderson was set and ready to throw down to third, but got tripped by Andrew Gabriel on the throw.
Dan, if the player doesn't move an inch after the swing, it's after the swing. On that pitch, he didn't swing. So where he is, he has to stay. Yeah.
They're going to send Cespedes back over to second.
That
just
might
give
be
us some clarification on what the rules are and what just happened right
there. As a catcher, if the batter is in the box, the batter cannot move after the pitch is thrown if they don't swing. If they swing, they have to stay in the position that they finished off their swing in. If they move and it interferes with the catcher, they are sent back to the base. He's lucky it wasn't an out. Because that, in some games, if an umpire really sees it, that could be an out.
So they'll put Cespedes back at second. That one's poked over to right field. It will land just foul.
Little break there for Nate Williams. Very close to the foul line in right field. Got another chance to just make this a seamless inning.
Yeah, here at East Field, too, it's tough for the umpires to rule what's fair, what's foul. There's no line down the right field and left field lines. It's just the foul pole and then the white spray paint on the dirt all the way up to first and third.
I was curious if it was just we couldn't see the lines from the baseline to the pole or if there was just no line, but you just clarified that for me.
There you go. 1-2 count here to Gabriel. Cespedes gets his lead off of second. Here's the pitch. Anderson blocked it in front of him, but it skips away, so both runners move up 90 feet on the pass ball.
It's a hard pass ball to get, Dan. Moving and blocking at the same time. Two of those combined together can be a very hard task.
So Cespedes did originally steal third. He now will steal for real after getting sent back to second on the batter's interference. There's one out here in this bottom of the sixth. Dragons trying to plate their first run of the ballgame. The 2-2. Misses down low. The count will go full.
Wouldn't be the worst thing for a walk here. Puts you in double play position with one out. Can still limit the damage. A strikeout here obviously helps the Stallions out a ton. But a walk here gives you opportunity to do stuff too.
The payoff pitch. Chop to the right side. Mays got it for out number one. He's not going to throw home, just keeps it with him. So the Dragons plate their first run of the game. It's 11-1.
Very smart by May there. You're up 11-0, right? Now 11-1. There's no reason to force a throw to home. Get the out. You have two outs now with an amazing pitcher on the mound. Trust him.
It'll bring up Trey Mariano, the first baseman. Mariano in this game is 1 for 2, had a single in the bottom of the fourth. Runner at third is Stephen Catch for the Dragons. And it seemed like Williams was a little angry right there on that pitch. Probably his highest velo he's topped tonight on that fastball.
I wouldn't want to get Nate Williams mad at the plate, Dan. In a blink, the ball would be by you in the batter's box.
You see it right there. It's 0-2 quickly.
Nate Williams, I want to almost guarantee another fastball here. He's been late on it twice, right? The third time, it's very hard to adjust pitch after pitch.
That one misses down low. It's 1-2. Dragons plating their first run of the ball game here in this bottom of the sixth. Trying to tack on one more and get themselves out of mercy rule range. Williams misses upstairs. It's 2-2.
Nate Williams, although he has thrown two straight fastballs, both for balls, no reason to not throw another one here, right? Man on third, two outs, throw the fastball.
Here's the 2-2 from Williams. Hit out into center field. Cuello goes back. He's got it for out number 3. So Williams limits the damage here in this bottom of the sixth. It's 11-1 as we head to the seventh. Dan Chalem with you, alongside AJ DiBenedetto here in the Pack Hub broadcast booth. Top of the seventh, Dragons plating their first run of the ball game in that bottom half of the sixth. It's 11-1. Jarrett May at the plate. He swings at the first pitch for strike one.
So now, Dan, Jarrett May up, top of the seventh. This is a perfect time for a hit.
He swings through that for strike two. We see Liam Powell warming in the bullpen, probably coming in to close out this bottom half of the seventh, or more if there's needed, depending on what happens. Here's the 0-2 to May. May down on 3 pitches, back-to-back strikeouts for him.
Not the greatest at-bat for May, but in this type of game, you can't look at it further than what just happened. It's a strikeout. Baseball's the game of strikeouts.
So with one out in the inning, it will bring up the catcher, Zach Anderson. Anderson had an RBI hit by pitch in his last plate appearance. It's fitting for a guy who was injured to come into the game and get hit by the pitch, but scores a run because of it.
The common theme of Zach Anderson being taking one for the team. A true leader on the field and a true leader on the bench.
1-0 in there for strike one. And the one word that I'll give you to describe Zach Anderson, grit. Has to be grit. This guy quite literally had his chin knocked against the brick wall at Cantine Field with multiple teeth knocked out and did not let that stop him whatsoever. And crazy enough, fought to stay in the game where those teeth were knocked out before the medical staff said, hey, you have to come out. It's not your choice. This one's grounded to Gabriel, and Anderson is retired for out number 2.
As a coach, though, that's what you want to hear. Although it's not the solution of the problem, right, Dan, getting hurt. You got to come out. But as a coach hearing that, it really makes you want to start a player just like that because of the difference he makes on the field.
So now it'll be Mike Cuello to the dish. Cuello came in as a defensive substitution for Evan Dieter in that top half of the sixth. First pitch to him is a strike. Cuello's a guy that's been finding his stride as of late, has really been tearing it up for this Stallions team. If you look at the batting average right now from Cuello, standing at 222, and that a week ago was 117. So putting it up 100, he's really been working hard.
Going up 100 in just a week, Dan, being the player of our game, just missed the cycle by a home run, and then going 2 for 2, 2 for 3. Guts it up 100 points, and he's going to continue to do that.
One-two count here to Cuello with 2 outs in the top of the seventh. That one misses upstairs. It's for ball 2.
If Cuello does get on, Dan, he's a speedy dude. Definitely do not want him on any of the bases.
7 stolen bases on the season. That's tied with Fritz Genther, who's no longer with the team, and Ethan Conrad also led that category before leaving. So right now, Cuello is the leader on the team for stolen bases. The payoff. He'll get a chance to get number 8.
Going from a 1-2 to a walk, just Mike Cuello really seeing the ball like a volleyball, Dan, not like a baseball. Seeing it bigger than what it is, allowing him.
It'll be the top of the order here for the Stallions. Mario Trivella to the dish. Trivella tonight, 1 for 2, along with a walk where he came around to score in the first inning. That one hits the outside for strike 1. Trivella singled in the 5th and eventually came around to score, was the starter of that 5-run rally. He's got a 1-1 count to him here with 2 outs. Misses upstairs. Stallions team batting average coming into this game, 296. That will most definitely go up with 11 hits so far here tonight. That one is going to curve foul. A big test tomorrow facing Oneonta. It'll be an interesting one for the Stallions. Oneonta, 4th place right now in the PGCBL. And Oneonta is a team, AJ, the only team other than the Stallions to take down the Amsterdam Mohawks this season.
A team with a ton of potential. The Stallions haven't really seen tons of trouble against Oneonta so far.
That one's in foul territory on the right side. Nobody's going to be able to grab it. We saw the last time that Oneonta and the Stallions played, a 6-5 victory at Damaski Field, but it was not easy. Oneonta had the bases loaded with 1 out in that 9th before Jackson Cohn figured it out and got himself out of some hot water.
Definitely got himself out of that hot water. It's a great analysis, Dan. 6-5, very close game. They beat in Amsterdam. They're a competitive team. Just hasn't shown it 100% yet in the PGCBL.
That 2-2 is fouled off in foul territory once again. This time, Mariano has a play, and he grabs it for out number 3. Liam Powell will be on for the Stallions, searching to end this game in the 7th. Stay with us. Dan Shallon with you, alongside AJ DiBenedetto, Liam Powell on the mound for the Stallions to try and close out this game. Nate Williams leaves the game with a final line of 2 innings pitched, just a singular hit, 1 run, that one being earned, and ends with no strikeouts and no walks. So another impressive outing out of the Mississippi State product. And Liam Powell out in a situation where he can close out the ball game, and it's a situation he loves to be in.
We went from Nate Williams having a 0.00 ERA. Now we go to Powell having the same ERA. Zeros all around. 5 games so far for Powell, 8 in the 3rd innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks, and the best stat, only 3 hits allowed, Dan, and 8 in a 3rd inning.
He's been great so far. We'll look to do it again. First batter he faces will be the catcher, Jordan Merowitz. 11-1 ball game. If the Dragons don't score here in this bottom of the 7th, this contest will be over via the mercy rule. Merowitz swings through the gas from Liam Powell for strike 1.
We talk about Liam Powell's fastball, 89 to 90, topping at 91. Changeup, curveball, knuckleball, slider. He has everything that a closer should have, and he really embraces every single one of those pitches.
He really does. He's also a guy that in his last 2 save appearances, this one, of course, not being a save appearance as we're in the 7th up by 10, he's had runners at 1st and 2nd, so he's been your prototypical type of closer where there's runners on base in tight situations, but he always finds a way to figure it out.
It's the Powell way. It really is. Powell always finds a way to get himself out of it.
2-2 to Merowitz. It's popped up behind the plate. It will go foul. Merowitz just trying to get himself on base in what's been a game where he struggled behind the dish. 2 pass balls that allowed 2 runs to score for Saugerties. The 2-2 from Powell. Strike 3 gets him chasing.
Powell had 4 strikeouts coming into this start. Now he is at 5. really just mowing down the batters he faces from one batter to the next.
It's his first strikeout in 12 days across 3 different appearances. Didn't have one in his last 2, those being against Amsterdam in the 8-0 win and against the Dragons in the 10-6 victory. Ryan Hart, the left fielder, at the plate. He fouls that one off. Just a comprehensive performance from the offense and the pitching tonight for the Stallions. 11 runs, 11 hits, and only 1 run on the board for Glens Falls.
Really can't ask for much more. We had a rough day against Amsterdam on Wednesday, but then we take it to this game, and it's like everything was forgotten.
1-1 count, or excuse me, 2-1. Here's the pitch. Misses on the outside corner. It'll be 3-1.
Powell's idea right now is just throw strikes. 3-1 count, 1 out, up 10.
So he'll walk Hart here with 1 out in the inning. That's the run that will extend the ball game if it does come around to score. 10-hole hitter Nick Masserini will dig in for the second time tonight. 1 out here in this bottom of the 7th. Dragons trying to extend this game. Powell finds the zone for strike 1.
Powell finding back into his stride. Like we said, 1 out and now 1 strike.
Check on first over on Hart. Here's the 0-1. Powell gets himself quickly ahead 0-2.
Dan, if you look at every single game that Powell has appeared in, all of them being wins. 5 appearances so far, 5 wins.
Yeah, 2 of those wins also being over Amsterdam. So this guy knows how to come in high leverage situations.
There's not a dull moment for Powell on the mound. Always in a situation where things could go wrong. And we've seen it with pitchers throughout the PGCBL, Dan, where things have gone wrong.
He's also a very personable and likable guy. Teammates rave about him off the field. And he's able to earn a second strikeout of the inning here in the bottom of the 7th. Dragons down to their last out of the ball game if they fail to score another run.
Powell adding 33% to his strikeouts on the season. Dan, a little math there. Had 4 coming in, 2 right there. Just doing the Powell thing.
So with 2 outs, it'll be the top of the order. Justin Gouveia digging in. Gouveia in this game is 0 for 3.
Dan, let's give a shout-out to Zach Anderson behind the plate. Look at his framing throughout this entire game. I've watched it, obviously. You got a love for it, doing it for so long, and obviously watch it a lot more. But just watching pitch after pitch.
Let's also give a shout-out to our producer, Casey DeSell, for doing a great job tonight, making the broadcast look extremely clean and making sure that we sound good. Big thanks to him. Him and I will be on the mic tomorrow night against Oneonta. That'll be a 6:55 p.m. pregame. The Pac Cup pregame show going live, and then 10 minutes later, first pitch at 7:05 from Cantine Field.
Should definitely be a good one.
Yeah, that'll be, if the Stallions go on to win this one, tied for first and now 3rd in the league for Oneonta. That one's hit to the left side. Chasing over to it is Bach. He's got it for out number 3, and the Stallions win in 7, 11-1.
Just an overall perfect game for the Stallions. Pitching, hitting, catching, anything you can name. The managerial ideal of it, perfect. Hit and run, steal. Completely different than the Amsterdam game, Dan, and it really showed.
Stallions getting back on track here tonight at East Field. And you now look quickly at the overall matchups this season versus Glens Falls. 8-1 Stallions, 12-2 Stallions, 4-2 Stallions, 10-6 Stallions, And now, here tonight, 11-1, Saugerties. They're now tied for first in the PGCBL East with the Amsterdam Mohawks, and will look to keep it going tomorrow night at home against the Oneonta Outlaws. For AJ DiBenedetto, I'm Dan Shalom saying good night. Stallions win 11-1.
Who's the winner of the game?
Hot.
4-3 RBIs.
Hot.